What's up? It's Mal. I'm here with Mike. We are Nifty Culture. It's been a rough week. We're planning on doing some more of the daily content, and then life and sickness and things we can't talk about without getting demonetized happen. But we survived. We're back mostly. We're, we may be gonna make it. Um, but sorry for the the downtick in content. But yeah, Mike, how's it going?
It's going good. I'm still at about 90%. So I guess the whole Nifty Culture crew got some sideline action, but at the end of the day, I'm back to doing what I love, which is working on some project work. So Nifty Culture trying to build some stuff, uh, which I think is going to be really exciting. And of course, as is tradition, we'll try to do our best to maximize whitelist value for the token holders. Um, for people who aren't as familiar, I'm going to toot my own horn. We got everybody who forged into the Moonray pre-sale um, drop by doing that project work, and I just double checked floor on those today. It's 0.22, so everybody who was around and listening and participated got a nice little windfall thanks to us working on that project. So hopefully that'll be kind of a similar model for stuff that we work on in the future. Of course, it's always kind of up for debate how many whitelist spots we're able to get for the cult, but we'll always do our best to get as much as possible. But anyway, that's kind of a roundabout way of saying I'm back doing what I love, which is coding. It's my passion, and Solidity is an awesome environment to work in. I love coding Solidity.
Yeah,
We got some devs that are helping us out now. So we got, I'm not having to go in solo anymore, which is nice because there's pieces that I'm strong at and pieces that I'm not as strong at. And so we've got some devs who are kind of augmenting me where I'm not as strong. Um, so
I'm
we should
excited.
be, yeah, we should have some really nice, high quality stuff that we're going to be releasing pretty soon. So,
Well, and on top of that, you release some open source code for Solidity or anyone on the Nifty Culture GitHub, right? So like
mm-hmm.
simultaneously, if you think about what we're doing is we do have the Nifty Culture Labs, which Mike is focusing on. Part of that is to gain experience so that when we write contracts for the Nifty Culture token, like we can do cool stuff. But it's also an additional way to, once again, as he said, get whitelist opportunities for us. And like that's a big deal, right? Like now we're releasing some code for the community. And we're going to be doing some project pitches, right? So as the devs get spun up, if there's some good projects that have some good ideas, we may have a Nifty Culture pitch day. I'm really proud of everything that's going on right now with the community.
Yeah, for sure. And that's like doing the open source stuff is something I've been talking about doing for about 6 months now. And I've definitely passionate about helping other people build projects that are awesome, not just us trying to build projects on our own. So anything we can do to help, like, um, this is highly not really publicized at all, but if you have a cult token and you need a little bit of advice on a project and you're working on trying to build something, feel free to reach out to us. Me and you have both given out countless hours of free consulting work. And I'm not promising to always have the consulting work be free, but it's kind of a fringe cult token benefit is we often will give out quite a bit of free advice. And that's one of the ways that we often get people onto these whitelists is by trying to help people make their projects successful. So, but one aspect of that is um, at, on the projects I'm working on, there's been a lot of questions of what's the most efficient way to do an ERC 721 token. So I did my own personal review and I came to some conclusions. And as part of that, I wanted to release a cleaned up version of the Pagsy contract, the one that was released in uh, the actual live contracts was very stripped, like stripped of developer-friendly pieces that don't really have any cost gas-wise. So I kind of converted it back to a nice, clean, Open Zeppelin-esque version as part of me doing some audits on these different adaptations. So I figured, this doesn't exist in GitHub. GitHub's where everybody looks for stuff before they start something, so it should exist in GitHub. So why not throw it out there under the Nifty Culture GitHub? So that's kind of the first big thing we've put out there. But in the future, I have a lot of other ideas for stuff I want to open source. We have a Merkle tree implementation for whitelists that I want to eventually get into open source. That one's a little bit harder because you can't just have the contract implementation. You also need the generation of the Merkle tree code to kind of go along with it. So I want to get that out there too. I'll try to get it in the next month or two before anybody else does, of course. Somebody might do it. People end up doing what we say on stream before I can get to it. And if somebody does do it, that's great. But that's a goal that I have because I know a lot of people want to do a whitelist, but end up doing it the kind of the gas poor way because it's just hard to understand Merkle trees and how they work. So having kind of a reference implementation out there, I think would be useful. And then I have some other ideas to put out there too that I just haven't really gotten around to release.
You are speaking as a programmer.
I know.
And it's appreciated, but it's just awesome for the programmers, anyone who's interested in Solidity or anything else. Definitely tune in. It's been a hectic couple days. I got out of Wolf Game. I sold all my sheep.
Oh, you're out?
I'm not a sheep shipper.
Okay.
My wife's sad about that. I got out of the wool. We won't go into too much detail, but with the drama behind Beanie and all the stuff that's going on with that, I didn't think it would be right for me to continue to stay in that project. Part of me was like, oh, the Wolf Game's going to succeed. Like Gary Vee's so invested, he'll take over. Someone else will take over. But I had to get out, and it's gone up since then. But I made a decent return on it. But like just looking at, what do you want to do? What values do you have? If they do change some stuff, I may re-enter, or if the stuff with Beanie resolves itself, which I doubt it will. I'll be interested to do that. Enough other people have talked about that. We don't need to beat that drum. So if we just do some rapid fire kind of around the horn stuff for a little bit about like we haven't missed that much, but we've missed a whole lot. Like where do we start? Should we start with Twitter?
Yeah, let's start with Twitter.
Let's start with Twitter. So I've got my, and this is one of those tough things. So like now, like I wish that going back to like the middleware tokens that like you can verify that you own it, and then you can also like revoke verification to remove it is like one of those things that like has to happen because like if you have like your ultimate flex and it's in cold storage and then all of a sudden you want to flex, like it's tough. So like, and you can only do it. So like as a thought experiment, to make sure it works, I added my, first off, you can't do it because you don't have iOS. So we'll learn really quickly what percentage of Bored Ape Yacht Club
Wait, you have to do it on an iOS device?
Yeah, for now. And you have to pay $3 a month to Twitter Blue.
Okay.
So you have to subscribe to Twitter Blue. You have to connect to a wallet. I'm not going to go into the details because that's a little much for me personally.
Okay.
But what's cool is like you can verify the collection. You can verify all those things. So like everyone was like, oh yeah, you could just right click save as and mint it. Yeah, cool. Like you can mint it, but it won't be part of this collection, right? And then if you click it, like there's like so many things because like immediately people will be like, oh, you'll just change the image, like all these things. Like, yeah, there's a lot of ways to fudge it, but it's just really interesting to see. Oh, sorry. Yeah, well, just Google, just Twitter, look up Beanie Dow on anything and you'll find it. Beanie got doxxed. Beanie's been involved in a bunch of stuff, allegedly. I don't want to comment on any of that. Like it is what it is. But like just Tropo Farmer's coming on with us next week. We're not going to ask him about this, but Tropo Farmer told his blog podcast with Beanie. Like just go look it up. It's not for us to go into too much detail on. But yeah, so it's like really cool that you can you can verify it. So like when you think about like the ultimate ape follow ape or crypto punks or anything else, it is pretty neat. But for me, like I like to change my PFP all the time.
Yeah.
So like sometimes it'll be the Nifty Culture logo. Sometimes it'll just remove the mal. It's just everything. Eventually we'll move Nifty Culture to its own domain, but for now this is how we've done it. So it's pretty cool.
So did you like, if you say you want to use your ape, whatever number you are, like I'm 6150. If I wanted to use 6150, do they go and pull the image and make the profile picture for me, or do you
You
still
connect
provide the
Twitter to
image?
your wallet.
You connect Twitter to your wallet, and then they go and pull the image from the Nifty?
Yeah, and then you can't like. Oh wow, hold on real quick. Sorry.
Because that's one thing I was curious about, is if they're actually like looking up the Nifty's source image file for you, which kind of is convenient and also kind of, I think, makes the system more hardened end to end. Although it has the disadvantage of not being able to put your own custom um, derivative ape. So my Twitter profile, of course, is like my ape 6150, but it's got the Nifty Culture background on it. So I don't think it would be compatible with this verified version. That being,
Yeah, I don't want to go into too much detail, but like you can connect your wallet and then like you can look at all of the NFTs in your collection and then you can like
okay,
go from there. So like it is pretty cool. Um but like if you have multiple wallets, like there's just a lot of things to consider when you're thinking about doing it. But yeah, I mean it's pretty cool. I mean, this wasn't on purpose, but shout out to Crypto Raiders who launched their endless dungeon today. Um, but yeah,
I saw that.
it's pretty cool. And we're going to be giving away a Crypto Raider tomorrow. Before we go live on the NFT Culture Happy Hour, I meant to do it last week. We launched a giveaway, and I actually feel really bad about this. Someone who's watching who entered the giveaway, like life happens fast. On the 12th, I said we are going to be doing a giveaway, and I didn't put terms on it. And then someone asked about it, and like with what's going on with our families and stuff, it took the back burner. But now that we're back, like I said, hey, look, sorry, we'll do it for 48 more hours. So tomorrow, before we go live, we're doing a Crypto Raider giveaway. So yeah, I mean, here's the thing. Like today, Facebook announced that, or Meta and Facebook announced that they're going to be releasing NFTs. Like influencers, like I want to. I don't know how much craziness you've been in like keeping up with, Mike. Like
A little bit.
how close have you been to this?
Um,
So like here's an example, like here's an influencer and like Irene is awesome, like good for her, good for all of her success. But like she launched 1,000 NFTs and the floor is like 1.3. And so like 24 hours later, Facebook is like, hey, by the way, we want to make money too. So instead of this influencer who's going to make money off of her own pictures, most of which she probably uploaded in some capacity. Like we're just in like peak mania right now. There are
mhm.
the adult actresses who are launching their DAOs. It's just been a crazy week for NFTs.
Yeah, this whole DAO thing, like a lot of people are trying it. Um, it'll be interesting to see which ones shake out as having been successful.
Yeah, I
So
mean
it's
it's
a neat concept. Like,
well, this one isn't even a real DAO. It's like, hey, here's my PFPs.
oh,
Like
okay,
it's not it's like not even yeah. It's like, hey, I want to make money off of you, which is fine.
yeah, yeah.
if you can make money, like here's the thing, like everyone's like making fun of the simps and everything else, but it's like if you can make money, make money. Like don't look back.
That's true. Yeah, it's. I mean, everybody wants to be doing this full time, or not everybody, but a lot of people want to be doing it full time, and the best way to be doing it full time is to make some money first, to
Yeah.
fund yourself to do that. So it's hard to fault people as long as they stay committed to the ecosystem, I think. Hey, so somebody mentioned Azuki
Why you
in the
gotta
chats.
why you gotta break out some wounds?
Hey, why don't we check out your Azuki?
I don't have an Azuki.
I know.
So
Which one did you have?
well, so here's the thing. I papered an Azuki. So like I'm the type of guy that just watches markets and like does dumb things constantly. And sometimes the dumb things work out, sometimes they don't. And so this was my Azuki. And I looked at it and I was like, oh man, the grass, like that looks like common. So like I'm on an in real life call because like I have in real life obligations still. And so I'm looking at everything that's going on and I'm trying to figure out, excuse me, what do I do with this? And so then I just paper. Sorry, my lights are messing up. And then I just say, you know what? I'm just gonna sell it. And I say, all right, like what's the floor? The floor is at like 2.5. I didn't know any of the traits. I didn't know that the blue was like a rare trait. And it's a beautiful picture, but I'm like,
Mm-hmm.
okay, like floor's going down. If I can make money on the out, like let's do it. And then like I get off my call and then I go and do what I always do. And this is going to be a new rule from NFT culture. And the new rule is never sell without reviewing all the traits. And so I
Yeah.
sold this for 3. And like right now, like we're in a decline slightly. So like the floor right now is 4.5. But earlier it was up to 6. And so for me personally, it was a big punch in the gut. And it's a good looking piece. Like I really like this and I'm out of the Azuki project, but it's a good looking piece. I'm really, I think this project has legs. Um, some of the rares look just absolutely incredible. I love the project, and so um, I'm looking for a new entry point, but I'm really disappointed in myself for going against my first rule. Dude, swag, come on, dude.
Yeah, the floors on the mainstream projects are so steep. Like they're almost unenterable. Like I personally, ever since my debacle, I set myself at a 1 ETH entry point. I'm not going to enter into anything unless it's like a well-established thing that I've been lusting after for months. Then I would set it higher. But if it's just a fresh drop, I'm not entering into anything over an ETH. I just set that arbitrary limit for myself. But if you want to actually participate in the mainstream stuff, then it seems like this 2 to 3 ETH entry point is like continuing to um, hold the line. So it's really hard for, that's 2 ETH and 3 ETH. That's a lot of money to drop for any even non really seasoned person. Hey, we lost your audio.
That's my problem. Like I bought, so I tried to get in at the floor when it was launching and I missed it. So I bought in at 2.3. I sold at 2.5. And then I sold all my wool. So I'm like, okay, I've got a little bit of liquidity. So like I'm gonna buy back in at 2.75. And so for me, I was like, when I saw the floor starting to fall back below that number and I'm on a business call, I just said, you know what, I'm just gonna get out. I gotta fix my lighting. But yeah, so I tried to do everything I could to get out, and I got out. Like it sold immediately. Like it was one of those things. Like I put it for sale, copy pasted it in our private Discord, and everyone was like, "Oh, you got a blue!" And then I
Oh
reloaded,
no.
and I looked, and it was sold. Like it was insta sell. And so like
Yeah.
you just get that punch in the gut. You're just an idiot, and it's just like rule number one: like before you sell anything, like first off, don't buy anything like that you can't afford to lose, but like don't don't sell it before you like know the real value. And
Hmm.
at the time, like this would have been like 2 or 3 ETH, which is like, okay, cool. If I do that once every couple weeks, like, do I need a IRL job? I don't know.
True. It's definitely much better like to sell pre-reveal than to dump in the post-reveal churn where you're not certain on the rarity. Don't do anything in the post-release churn. I think whether you're selling or buying, it's going to be something you're going to regret.
Are you gonna try and do this?
Okay, so here's my thinking on CryptoBatz. I was a huge Aussie fan when I was a stupid teenage and college age male, as probably many of us were. So like we all have a soft spot for Ozzy. I don't know why really, because it's not like he's a good role model or anything. But um, I looked at the
Once you
project.
became a parent, you've become very stronger opinionated.
Yeah, that's true. I looked at the project and the artwork looks pretty. I mean, it's pixel art, so you got to first be okay with pixel art, which some people love it and some people don't. It's a little bit
I love it.
polarizing, but it's good pixel art, I think. I mean, do you agree that it's pretty good pixel art, or
I mean, he has this golden ratio thing.
okay?
Have you
But
seen the dark creatures align with the golden ratio? So, of course, it's great pixel art.
okay, so I think it's good. I think it's good, solid pixel art. There's not a lot of bat projects. The mutant, so the roadmap is pretty flat. The two pieces of the roadmap that are interesting or that are actually real things are there's some sort of contest, which I don't fully understand, to find an ancient bat. So that's part of the roadmap. That's a tangible thing. And then there's this thing called a mutant bat. And the way the mutant bats work, it's only certain people are going to get value from that. But there's 5 or 6 projects where if you have a CryptoBat and you have a piece from one of those projects in your wallet, you can bite the other piece and make a mutant bat out of it. So like that one you have on the screen with the kind of ape face and the party hat, that one clearly is a Bored Ape Yacht Club mutant bat. So I think I'm not sure if when you bite the bat, if it gives you a second one. So then you have two, you have your original crypto bat and then you have the mutant bat, or if it changes yours into a mutant bat. Um, but whatever the case is, if it changes it into it, it's kind of like forging. So yet another idea that we pioneered. Um, but so I think the mutant bat piece is interesting. The one drawback to it is they had to do custom artwork for it, so it's a limited set of projects, and the floor on the lowest project is probably like Alien Friends, but it's still like 5 or 6 ETH. So not a lot of people are going to be able to participate in the mutant bat aspect. So it's pretty limited. Um, but I think that's kind of a cool feature to it. So I would say where this project falls for me is it's more aggressive than a pure PFP art project like Artifact, where it was like, or Mecha, where it's like, here's some art and that's it. It's at least like, hey, here's some art, but also here's some kind of interesting features that are ready to go day one. So that's cool. And then the rest of the roadmap is kind of that ancient bat contest, which might be really interesting and awesome, or it might be really lame and not awesome. It's always hard to tell how those are going to go. But the entry price is kind of steep, 1.6 ETH to do the public sale, which probably is happening any minute now. So
Yeah, there's about 20 minutes left.
again, it's over my 1 ETH floor, unfortunately. So
But like, is 1 ETH floor? So here's the big question. Like, long term, is 1 ETH floor the floor forever, or is 1 ETH floor the floor for like I'm trying to come up with like, I had my rules and they were soft
mhm.
rules, and like I'm trying to firm them now because I've been burned because I didn't follow my hypothetical rules. Like, my first rule is like, well, my first rule at the time was never buy on the secondary. Like once you sell, never sell again, right?
Yeah.
Um, Jenkins. Sorry, I was just reading the comment. We'll put it back up. But yeah, like my first rule is like once I sell, don't buy back in, right? And like that's the first rule that I had. But now it's like, well, now I need to rethink my rules. And then if this ape token gets out here, it's like I have to have a board ape kennel ape yacht club. What like so now I spent 4 point and actually like shout out to the gentleman who sold it to me. Oh, Julian. Yeah, Julian's awesome. I can't share. We'll share that. We'll get Julian on. How about that? We'll interview Julian, and have him on stream soon.
That'd
But
be cool.
yeah. So like, then it's like, okay, well, the biggest expense I've ever spent was my kennel dog, like re-buying back into it for a third time. Um, but then it's like you have to rethink like what your policies are. Like, there's going to be a point where there's going to be these like 1 ETH mints, right? Like, and like, do we
Well,
just
like I said, if it's an established thing, so like, I really want to get an M2 serum. So okay, so what I'm thinking is like, I really want an M2 serum. I wanted an M2 serum back in November when they were way cheaper. Um, I will probably always want an M2 serum because my particular ape, when he mutates with M2, he looks the business. So it's probably behooves me to eventually invest in an M2 serum because he will be super awesome as an M2 ape. Originally, I sold my M1 serum thinking that I was going to time the market and be able to parlay it into an M2 serum.
wait? You
And
sold your M1?
yeah,
I forgot about that.
yeah, and I didn't make as much as I could have, but I made more than I could have if I had paper handed it way sooner. So when I originally was going to paper it, it was like 3 ETH, and I got like 7 ETH for it. So it was better than nothing. But now they're worth like 15 ETH or more. So it's probably bad timing. But
Never look back.
yeah, never look back. But I still I want to get an M2 serum at some point. So if the market conditions were right and my ETH pool was right, then I would probably break. I mean, I wouldn't consider that violating my 1 ETH rule because M2 serum is an established thing. Like, it's going to be valuable. I think as far as like going into mints though, like you really don't know. Like, the goal of the project is to, or surely is to extract as much value out of the market as the project can hold. So as we get into a more mature market, people are going to get better and better at estimating how can I get most of the value and not leave any on the table, because that's just what rational people will do. And corporations, as they come in, they're going to be even better like at doing this calculus than any of the small project players are going to be anyway.
They're already algorithmic trading on
Mm-hmm.
NFTs.
Exactly. So I think the likelihood of buying into stuff and have it not be a profitable flip is going to just increase from here on out. And so you just need to make sure that the things that you're buying into, you're okay whether it's worth something or not. And so one easy way is like, it really needs to be a cool thing for it to be worth more than 1 ETH in my book. So I set that limit just to help myself make sure that I'm just buying stuff that I don't mind if it ends up not being worth that much. So yeah, buy what you love as always.
Dude, I completely agree. When you think about, I mean, if we try to time it right, if you look at like when you sold it, and like if you look at people never look back. Like you only look at like when did I sell it and what happened since then. If it went up, you feel great. If it went down, you feel if you went up, you feel bad. If it went down, you feel great,
Yeah,
right? But you also don't look at like the 30 days before that, where it's like, okay, like if you sold the local top, like you should still be happy. You should still be
true.
fine with it, right?
Mm-hmm.
And like it's also like one of the things we don't talk about in like never financial advice. Um, is like take profits.
Yeah.
No one ever says that. Like, take profits. Like,
The whole thing could go to zero, you know?
it's all like it's like yeah, our core tenets are support artists that are established, support
Hmm.
artists that are doxxed, buy art you love, even if it was worth nothing, and for everything else, take profits. Not always profits, like because like you'll miss ups and downs, but like if you're net positive, take a profit. If you're net negative and you can get back to net positive, like if you're negative overall in the NFT space and you're asking yourself, if I sold this, I could be net positive, then maybe take that profit because like
Yeah,
everything else then becomes free.
it's true.
Everything else that you own, all your bags, all your great art, everything is now free. And it's like, okay, cool. Like I did this. And like have your pieces that like my wife's Slam Sunday. Like all these pieces. And so like what I do to take profits, not just from ETH to like keep myself from like rebuying profits or over leveraging or anything else is like whenever I get to a certain point in my wallet, I buy a piece that I wanted a long time ago. So if like for instance I'm up 3 ETH on a project and an artist that I wanted to support 6 months ago, but it didn't have the liquidity, I'll go back and buy it. And
Hmm.
then that removes my ability to like lose or gamble that ETH,
Yeah.
but it also gives me a piece in the collection that's like relatively stable so that if hard times did come, I could sell it probably near what I bought it for, and then it's a great piece to the collection. Like there's a lot of little strategies that I've been incorporating. So we should create our little NFT culture NFA rules.
NFA.
Little we should create a little toilet book.
Okay,
Rule 76, play like a champion.
nice. Yeah, I definitely like that idea of kind of just keeping your eye on stuff that you like long term, because stuff ebbs and flows. Like I got my X copy when X copy was way down for really no rational reason. So
But that's a good point because like you also at the time you'd spent over twice as much as I did on the X copy. And that's not a humble brag. That's like at the time, so like we're going through these things and like I'm hyping X copy and X copy says like art is worth 2 or whatever. And so we're
mhm,
like, oh, X copy is going to airdrop. And so like you didn't FOMO, but you got into the afterburn because of that. And like at the time, there's a fluctuation. And if it's going up 40% down 40% a lot, you're like, if you sold it for a loss for like, 1600 or 1200, it would have felt bad. Or if you sold it for a profit at like 2600, it would have felt great. But like now you're like, okay, cool. Like, and that's like my biggest fault is like I look at the micro, not the macro
yeah,
trends. And it's like if you go back to the core tenets of supporting artists you love, like okay, X copy's not going anywhere. And I didn't put my grifter up because of that. It just randomly came on. But it's like
convenient.
had I not had my afterburn, I entered a raffle and I won this 0.25. It's worth 10 ETH right now. So it's like
Hmm.
these things with this are just so interesting. But take profits, right? Like
Yeah,
and don't look back. It's fine. And if you see a local top, and you take a profit and it keeps going up, like ignore the project. But if it goes back down and you loved it, like buy back in. It's okay.
yeah, yeah. I think um, one interesting thing is like everybody's going to remember the first year or two of Nifty's because it's going to be like this is when it all started, and we're all going to have these fond, rosy memories at this time. So stuff where it's like you have really positive. It's kind of like if you were a teenager and there was a car, to make a physical verse analogy, you couldn't afford that car as a teenager or whatever, but you always liked it. And then 30 years later, you're like, hey, I'll pay 5 times sticker for that because I'm old and I can afford it or whatever. I think these first couple of years of Nifty's are going to be kind of similar in that the projects that were really cool and really striking to people, I think eventually there's going to be a lot of projects where people will have fond memories of them and will just want them because of that fond memory. And so if you have a fond memory, now's really the time to try to get the things that you have those fond memories of. So that was kind of what prompted me to get the X copy. And like the M2 thing is going to be one of those things where I have the fond memory of it, but I'm not going to be able to buy it. So it's going to be terrible. But try not to set yourself up to have dreams that can't be fulfilled. But yeah, I think now's the time for you to keep an eye on projects that, if you like something, focus on stuff that that you think is cool, and try to put those in your collection. And if there's stuff in your collection that's profitable, that you're like, I don't particularly necessarily have a strong feeling of this, and you end up selling it to take the profit, don't feel bad if it goes up, because sometimes everything goes up. So,
and everything's going up right now.
yeah, we're back on the upswing.
It's one of those markets where you just look at the liquidity and you just sit there and say, "Oh man, like I don't think that I don't think this thing can keep going," but it just keeps going the next day. Like I'm looking at like the local tops right now. Like if you look at the last, if we look at the trending projects, let's just briefly, and then we'll get to looks rare, and then we'll wrap it. If we look at the last 12 hours, the top projects, Azuki, its market cap is 67 million. The Royal Cubs have moved. CryptoBatz, 34 million. Wow Pixies are moving. They're 1.3. Yoke, Super Plastic, Dr. Ethville. Like, and this Adidas has fallen a little bit, but it's still super high. We haven't talked about Adidas Prada, which is coming out January 24th, which our wives are going to want in on.
Is that one of the ones that you get a free mint on or something?
There's a contest, but because we own them, we have a chance to win.
Okay.
HapeBeast, which I lost 0.6 on the fake mint, is at 7 ETH still, 6.95. That's market cap's 166 million. White Rabbit, like these are just like crazy projects right now. So like you start looking at these things. Oh yeah, and the Super Bowl, like this is gonna be like my artifact, or here's my Nike artifact moment. And there's only 29 people watching, plus a couple hundred on Twitter. When Eminem and Snoop and likely a few other of the artists that will be on stage at the Super Bowl, and there's flashes of Bored Ape Yacht Club, and like during or after halftime, the ape token is announced. There's going to be a lot of attention, and so if you think
they're going to announce it during or after halftime?
If you think about all the crypto.com commercials that are going to be going on, if you think about the Coinbase commercials, Coinbase is going to have an NFT commercial during the Super Bowl. If you think about all these things, and if I'm wrong, come back and yell at me. But wasn't wrong, 4 days before I talked about it was more than 4 days, but I wasn't wrong about Nike acquiring Artifact, and my sources may not be wrong here. Like after the Super Bowl, like we're early. We keep saying we're less early, but after the Super Bowl, it's gonna be game on. Let's go, and then we'll see y'all in Vegas in March.
Oh man, that is going to be a mess. So the M2 is just, it's just forever going to be crazy. Hey, somebody brought something up that I wanted to just touch on.
The looks rare. Yep.
Well, we can go to that in 1 second. The PAX carbon auction, to me, it's a slight letdown because it's going to be impossible to participate in. Like, just to be able to have a chance to win, you needed 55 ash, and I only had 53 ash. Otherwise, you had to have placed a successful bid, which is up to like 40,000 ash or something. So no one can afford to place a bid that high, really. So I don't know. It's not going to be available for normal people. Okay.
Like, here's the thing. Like, I'm going to keep my comments quiet because I've got strong opinions. I sold all of my pack.
Yeah, I'm the lone pack holder now.
And
I still,
Yeah. And this is the yin to the yang.
True. I'm going to hold my pack because of his significance.
I love you.
But I think thinking you're going to buy pack and somehow make out on in any way that's good. I think that's part of his artistic style is, I don't know, vacuuming your hope.
There's a difference between art. There's a difference between performance art, and there's just other things going on. And it's let's turn that ash back
Okay.
into an NFT so that
Yeah.
the SEC doesn't come after me. That's
I
the
I said that way back in like March of last year that pack or ash sounds a lot like a security.
yeah. But if it's performance art, and here's the other thing, like if Wikipedia is saying you're an artist, then there's so many like meta thing. Anyway, let's let
Hmm.
it go. I don't want to talk.
Yeah.
Looks rare. I was wrong. There's still manipulation, and there's still like you can look at all of the things. Like there's still the knee bits going for 60 back down to 4,
Yeah.
back to 60, and everything else. But looks rare has established itself. I'm not upset I sold because it could have gone the other way, but it's one of those things like I sold it, I made a little bit of money, and I moved on. That being said, I will use the platform. Like if I want to buy an NFT and OpenSea is down, and I made a tweet today, which I'm not.
Yeah, they were down again today.
They were down all day, and I pulled a Billy Madison. I'm sure it's been done a million times. So if anyone is watching this said it first, I'll attribute you. But OpenSea more like broken sea.
I know.
uh, but I'll use Luke's Rare. But I mean, shout out to Nifty Gateway. This is the other thing. MasterCard and Coinbase made a massive
Oh yeah, I
announcement.
saw that.
You can use a credit card to buy an NFT. It's like, bro, I was using a credit card a year and a half ago to
Yeah,
buy NFTs on Nifty Gateway.
that's true.
Shout out to Nifty Gateway. Without
Yeah,
Nifty Gateway, we wouldn't be here.
that's true. Someone's asking about my beer. Shoot. It's a German beer, I will say. I don't want to say any brands and then get some weird thing to happen.
It should be Martin House Brewing.
I know.
If
I
you
love
look it
Martin
up,
House too.
Martin House is the best beer.
I'm drinking a mainstream German beer. Yeah, I think looks rare. I want it to be an honest and successful platform. Okay, so let me caveat.
John's just gonna come in, like he's
I
gonna
know.
force himself into this.
He's gonna call. He's probably dialing in right now. Okay, there's a big rift in the Nifty Culture staff about looks rare. We're completely torn. Some of us love it and some of us don't love it. I personally feel like the whole approach of using wash trading to make the platform like get into people's mindsets is like a gross approach to success. I definitely think, yeah, the more competition we have, and the idea of a decentralized platform sounds really good, and I want it to be successful, but I also want it to be kind of done fully above board in all aspects as much as possible, so that there's no kind of weird um, underlying level of slime associated with it. And
Well,
that's
I
just me being
mean,
a purist.
well, real quick, I think that this is an important nuance to talk about. And we were going to wrap a while ago, but I love that we're going long. Feels like the old days. Wash trading, right? So, like, if you have a stock and you're wash trading, if you know a stock's going to go down, you sell it and then buy it lower. Like, you're still liable, or like it is illegal, at least in the United States. So, like, if you can wash, so what's interesting here is that is it wash trading market manipulation, or is it wash trading to claim rewards? And like this could be a specific nuanced precedence that is set to say that if I am wash trading because of a capability, like let's say there have been many cases, like if I go to Best Buy to claim something and return it, like is that illegal or legal? Like it depends on the terms of service. So like the wash trading in this situation is like I'm not a fan of it, but it proves that the network can handle the momentum, right? Which is like John's big point. It's the
Yes and
network
no,
is
though,
capable.
because here's the thing: it does a little bit. It proves that
The
it can
rewards
handle
have no
dollar
impact on your
volume.
ability to buy and sell NFTs. If we
True, but
remove the rewards, let's remove it. Like, can I buy and sell NFTs on a platform that's not OpenSea is completely different from can
that's
I
true.
exploit and take gains in a DeFi 2017 mentality.
Yeah.
If we hold those things to be both true at the same time, the first one is incredibly important to me.
Yeah.
Because if there's an NFT I want in the market, like there have been many NFTs that I bought and sold. And if OpenSea is down, like in the market crushes, and an hour later there's another launch, the arbitrage like breaks my ability to make money if I'm a day trader. So having alternative means to the market is good. That being said, the other piece, I completely agree with you. But like that first part is incredibly important. Like, does looks rare function? Yes.
Hmm.
Does this exploitation prove that it functions? Yes. Is the exploitation good? I don't know. I'm not a participant. I saw what was going on and I took my gains and I moved on. That
Hmm.
being said, I would still use the market if I could use the market in an efficient way.
Okay, that's fair. And I'll keep an eye on it, and maybe I would use it if OpenSea was down too. Um, I think the one last point I want to make, and then we can just do another topic, is there's a, they are executing a similar dollar volume to OpenSea, sometimes greater than OpenSea, but they're in no way executing the number of transactions or handling the same level of server load as OpenSea. So it's easy to get confused and be like, wow, looks rare is just as performant and just as well scaled as OpenSea, but it's not even true. The dollar volume is just a bit of a ruse. By some calculations, I did it by gas. OpenSea is handling 22x transactions, probably by server load because of all the people using OpenSea just to look at their nifties and stuff. I would guess OpenSea is 100x or more, maybe even 1000x. So the number of end
Oh,
users that OpenSea is managing is vastly different than LooksRare. And if you tried to have LooksRare handle OpenSea's volume, it would get crushed in an instant. So
no, that is a very very important and nuanced and accurate um, um, perspective. Like the amount of like there's no nothing you can do to say or compare the two of them. Like, and that's like the biggest frustration for me actually is that like they were claiming that it mattered because like if you think about it from this lens, so like let's look at this perspective, right? Then this also ruins volume for the wash trading, ruins like the amount of money that's coming in and out. So from that perspective, I hate it because we're killing the cap, like we're killing the perspective of like true daily trading. But if you
mhm,
look at like looks rare, so like from January 10th, like okay, looks rare had 4 million OpenSea. Um, oh, sorry, look, yeah, looks rare. Sorry, back to the beginning. So January 10th, looks rare was only 4 million, and then if we go to the 19th, it's 842 million. 842 million, and then today it's even so far 842 million. Like if you think about this and just like use first principles thinking, the biggest trading day we've ever, the biggest trading month we ever had was 3.4 billion when during the mutant apes. This month is a big month, it's 4.2 billion. So like that would be 10 days of looks rare trading.
mhm,
Just like it's all muddy, none of it makes sense. It's broken and it's all wash trading. That perspective, completely agree with you. Like the fact that the DApps take that in and like if you're a a legacy market looking at this, if you're looking at everything else, the biggest complaint I have for this is like it's proving that the market works to the DeFi community, but it's also making the entire community look dirty to
mhm,
the rest of the world. Because
mhm,
if anyone comes and looks at this from an outsider, the SEC, any investment bank, or anyone else, like imagine like OpenSea, who just raised another $300 million for a $12 billion valuation about a week and a half ago. They came in and looked at this and said, "Hey, by the way, it looks like you were doing 10x anyone else for the first month, and then it fell off. What happened?"
mhm.
Oh, we were wash trading. Okay, that's a risk factor. So I completely agree with everything that you're saying. That being said, my first principle having multiple markets is like if I can transact and do what I want to do, more marketplaces is better. But
Sure.
Nifty Gateway is doing all this too, and Maker's Place just
Yeah, they're
added
doing
this
verified
functionality.
collections. Yep. Yeah,
Shout out to Maker's Place.
I think it's really cool that the kind of the legacy, well, they're not really legacy, but the older school marketplaces are all trying to up their game too, because it's a free market, so they're all trying to compete to get users. So it's forcing them all to try to do improvements too. So it definitely benefits everybody to have another piece of competition in there. We all want it to be kind of fair competition though. So
Well, we went 20 minutes longer than we planned, and we have NFT Culture Happy Hour. We're going to be back tomorrow with our regular happy hour.
yep.
We're recovering. We're healthy. We're back to
Mostly
coding.
healthy, almost
Mostly.
healthy.
Yeah, I still have the family sick, but we're
Yeah.
going to make it. We're all going to make it. We didn't get into HapeBeast enough today. The coding's been fun for you and the new devs. Briefly, we made available for the next probably month or so, like the bots on our Discord, so you can check floors of OpenSea and Nifty Gateway in the non token holder chats. We're also we introduced wallet peeping, so we're following all the top artists or all the top collectors' wallets, so you can tell real time when they're buying and selling. Um, our token versus anyone else's, in my opinion, the best community we have. Less than 10% for sale. If you can join us, we'd love to have you. It's been fun. I'm glad we're back.
Awesome.
Stressful
Yeah,
for a little bit.
I know. Hey, we're back now though, so it's all good.
I was gone for a minute, but I'm back now. That's a Logic lyric.
Nice. Get us demonetized right at the end. Perfect.
All right, Mike. I love you.
Cool. Love you too, man.